Hey folks, I'm back for episode 28 of the Quintuple M, the Monday Mr. Money Mustache Motivation. Today's episode comes from the blog post from May 28th, 2011. I will link it in the description box below, as always. The weekend edition, The Magic of Thinking Big. It's the weekend, so that means we get to step back for a little bit of philosophy instead of the hard number crunching. Today I've prepared a little story for you. One dark February night in 1992, the skinny teenage version of Mr. Money Mustache was sitting alone on the lazy boy chair in his parents' living room, staring out the window in a severely depressed funk. I had just been dumped by my first girlfriend. Lacking any past experience, I felt it was the end of the world. There was nothing to do besides shed tears of teenage angst to the soundtrack of tragic Pearl Jam songs. I needed something to take my mind off of the incredible loss, so I started combing my parents' bookshelf for something to read. Deep in a remote recess of the shelf, behind the dry art history books and bizarre psychology tomes, a much smaller and more approachable book materialized. The title was The Magic of Thinking Big by David J. Schwartz, Ph.D. Looking back almost 20 years later, I feel certain that the book must have been stashed there by a future me, just as Biff traveled back in time to give a sports almanac to the teenage version of himself in Back to the Future 2, to ensure a drastically more successful life for himself. These tiny and simplistic and charmingly outdated books from the 1950s completely changed my life, and now, Junior Mustaches, I get to share it with you. You see, with the unexpected growth of this blog's readership, I've started getting quite a few naysayers and anti-mustachian accusations, especially in private messages and other discussion forums. You're not really retired. Oh, you must be lying about this or that because things like that aren't possible in the USA. Oh, good luck about having your kids go to college because it's almost impossible to get a degree without incurring a lifetime of debt. And then the degree will already be obsolete, and then it will have been a waste anyway. Things don't work like that here in Mr. Money Mustache territory. Here, it's time for the pessimists to shut up and learn from the optimists. And for me, my 20-year history of shockingly self-fulfilling optimism goes back to that initial late night spent reading Dr. Schwartz's little book. The book starts off with an intriguing premise. Quote, "The more I observed, the more people I talked with, the deeper I dug, the clearer was the answer. Case history after case history proved that the size of bank accounts, the size of happiness accounts, the size of one's general satisfaction account is the product of the size of one's thinking. There is magic in thinking big, but much of the thinking around us is little, not big. All around you is an environment that is trying to tug you, trying to pull you down second-class street. Meanwhile, first-class Avenue, USA is a short and uncrowded street. There are countless vacancies there waiting for people like you who dare to think big." As you read through, these wickedly memorable phrases continue in abundance. You'll find yourself repeating Dr. Schwartz's classic 1950s one-liners to your unsuccessful friends, only half in jest, as you try to explain your own phenomenal success after the pairing of David J. Schwartz and his contemporary counterpart, Mr. Money Mustache. In the early chapters, your mind is described as a thought factory, which employs two foremen, Mr. Triumph and Mr. Defeat. If you put Mr. Defeat in charge, he will very patiently have your factory workers present reasons you cannot achieve what you would like to achieve. You're too old, or busy, or too overweight, or not qualified for the job. If Mr. Triumph takes the floor, he switches the thought production completely. Now, every goal you set starts with the immediate assumption that it is possible. Mr. Triumph already knows he will win. His job is simply to lay out the steps required to get to that goal and to keep you excited about cranking through those steps. Next is the chapter about excusitis, the failure disease. The good doctor describes a series of real-world people he has interviewed, some who suffer from this disease, who immediately start listing excuses in the face of any challenge. I'm fat because I have a slow metabolism. I can't ride a bike because I'm too busy. Then he contrasts these folks to a series of big thinkers who never make excuses and accept challenges with curious enthusiasm. As it turns out, the big thinkers are always the successful ones with plenty of money and happy, balanced lives, and the excusitis sufferers are always the ones with big and compounding problems. Amazing, isn't it? that these examples were all of people in the 1950s, and yet the same characteristics also define successful and unsuccessful people today? You will find the contrast in your own friends amazing, as you are encouraged to use your real life as a laboratory, doing little thought-related experiments on yourself and studying the behavior of actual successful and unsuccessful people you know. The observations of the book are all spot on when applied to real people, even from our current vantage point 60 years in the future. As the book goes on, it gets into deeply practical strategies to be an actual big thinker yourself. Things like monopolizing the listening rather than the speaking in every conversation. And when meeting with a more senior executive in your own company, realizing that you are not a subordinate and a boss, but two equally important people sitting down together to solve an important problem. Curing fear with action. Absolutely golden stuff, every page of it. When I reread the book just this weekend, I realized that Mr. Money Mustache has in fact become exactly like David J. Schwartz. We both start each of our golden lessons with an amusing and/or illuminating anecdote. We both write in short and punchy sentences. And we both believe that the modern world is an absolutely excellent place, a dense and flowery jungle completely packed with mangoes of opportunity that spray their juices in our face every time we take another muscular step through the foliage. But we're not just living in denial. The confident optimism actually opens up gigantic doors for us and creates unimaginable opportunities. The reason, of course, is not actual magic, but the effect of your optimism has on the people around you. People want to hire you or to help you or to work for you because big thinkers are very rare, and it's exciting to be around one. The guaranteed key to a happy and rich life is to have an easy time working with other people. With this confidence, you don't have to worry about a recession or a depression or using gold coins as currency in a post-apocalyptic shanty town because you'll always be able to work with other people, build a productive community, and have some good fun with your life. As a side effect, you will accumulate much more money. Here on this particular blog, we're applying big thinking to become rich enough to retire drastically sooner than regular people. You will also use your new skills to do better in all other areas of your life, but it's important to occasionally state the real reason we're all here right now. So if you are not already a big thinker, it's time to start training with a visit to your library to find this book. Then maybe I won't get so many doubters in the comments section. Actually, I'm joking about this last part. We still need to hear from people of all perspectives to really understand the current state of our society if we want to have any hope of helping people change. It is ironic that I told pessimists to shut up right in the same article that I suggest that big thinkers focus on listening rather than speaking, but you know what I meant, right? Yeah, I think I get what he means, and he is correct. You know, this whole idea of the financial independence, retire early movement is a big way of thinking. You know, I never even had the thought until I stumbled into this rabbit hole of the FIRE movement that retiring early would be possible for somebody like me. I just automatically assumed and had that negative thought, I guess, that retiring early is only for people who are exceedingly rich and extremely wealthy and make a whole lot more money than I do. But it is possible, and I believe that it's possible, so, you know, I'll do what I can to achieve it. And yes, you know, right now I'm working on paying off debt. Paying off debt is a grind, and it's a long process, and it can be discouraging at times. But I imagine that once I get to the point of investing heavily and trying to build wealth, that's really going to be the same thing. You know, it's going to be a grind and take time to build that wealth, but I will do my best to stay positive during that process. And if y'all are here watching this channel, I hope that y'all will stick around and continue watching me on my journey, and I will continue rooting y'all on in your journeys. Comment below and let me know what your favorite part of this blog post was. I haven't ever read this book, but I'm gonna have to check it out. If Amazon has it, then I will find it and put an affiliate link down in the description box below for this book as well, if you guys would like to check it out. All right, I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.